Well, here we are in beautiful Turkey. You can see the wonderful view of the Bosphorus behind me. Amazing city, amazing city. And what I want to talk about is a dichotomy which will cause you difficulties in your life and which will maybe, even more importantly, affect people that you go into relationships with. And that is the pull between the desire for safety and stability and the desire for instability and chaos. Human beings all, in almost equal measure, crave both, right? We all crave stability, we all crave safeness, we all crave somewhere we can call home, and all of those kind of cliches that you hear in popular songs. And we all also want to take a walk on the wild side. We all also want a bit of excitement. We want a bit of variety and strangeness in our lives. And that dichotomy, that pull between those two opposing things is very difficult, and it causes a lot of problems in relationships, and it makes actually monogamous relationships, long-term monogamous relationships, very hard because it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away entirely. I mean, you might reach a point with yourself where you think, well, do you know what? I've had a good run. I've had my innings. I'm gonna now just, this is where I am. I'm with this person. I accept that. I love them, and I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna go with that. And that may well be the case, and that does happen for a lot of couples. You know, a lot of married couples. They just reach that point of like, well, look, you know, here we are. This is it. I've cashed in my chips, and there it is. I'm maybe not, I mean, happy is a strange word, and it's not really a word that has any literal meaning, I don't think, but I'm satisfied with my lot. You know, people are going to think that, which is fine. The only issue with it is that if you're, say, entering into a long-term partnership, you're entering into a marriage, you've got to be pretty damn sure that your significant other is going to go along with the program as well. Because even if that's your view, that's your belief, that's your settled decision of like, right, okay, this is it now. I've cashed in the old chips. The flesh rampage of the dating marketplace is no longer for me. And I'm quite happy to sit at home with a newspaper and watch Gardener's World on a Sunday, and no more excitement for me. Now, that, as I say, absolutely fine. That's great. It sounds actually very appealing. But there's going to be times when you're going to feel those pangs of desire for adventure, desire for something else, desire for the other, you know? And you might watch videos where people are traveling or walking around a foreign city, and you might think, God, I'm in Surbiton now, sitting in the, you know, I've got to mow the lawn tomorrow, I've got to tidy up the garden. If only I could travel, if only I could do those things, if only I could potentially take a different lover secretly for a night, you know, if only I could experience something different just once in a while. And you may deeply love your wife, you may deeply love your girlfriend, but you may feel that opposing desire coming into play. And then you might suppress it, and you think, well, no, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be an adult. I've grown up. I've matured. Which is fine. Which is a great decision to make. But again, what you've got to remember is that your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, whatever, is also going to have those feelings as well from time to time. She's also occasionally going to be thinking, oh, you know, I've got to tidy up the house, I've got to do the cooking, I've got to take the kids to school, I've got to go to my job, whatever it is that she does. I just wish that I could just go on an adventure, you know? I wish that it could be like the old days. I wish I could go off on my own, maybe do a solo trip, maybe take another lover. This is, if you guys have seen Eyes Wide Shut, the great film Eyes Wide Shut, directed, of course, by Stanley Kubrick, his last film before he died, based on the novel Dream Story, I think it's called, by Arthur Schnitzler. That's exactly how the story starts. That's exactly how the narrative starts. A woman confessing to her husband that sometimes she has thoughts about making love to another man. You know, and that is obviously extremely unpalatable to the protagonist, and it sets him off on this strange, bizarre adventure into the night that he goes on. So yeah, there's a very uncomfortable reality underlying monogamous relationships, which is that actually both parties, from time to time, want to stray outside the boundaries of that relationship. Now, again, I'm not saying this can't be managed. I'm not saying that it's impossible for people to be monogamous and to stick together, but what I am saying is that it's quite tricky, because the two opposing impulses are always present, or pretty much always present. The impulse for safety and, let's say, oxytocin, snuggles, cuddling, watching Netflix together, all that good stuff, and the desire to go out into the night and seek adventure with strangers, to have bizarre experiences, to enjoy the thrill of illicit sexual experiences and illicit nocturnal activities. Those opposing desires are always there, and I don't think they really go away. I mean, certainly I'm in my 40s, late 40s, whatever. They haven't gone away for me. Maybe they will next year. Maybe you hit 50 and it all goes away. It goes neatly back into the box. But I doubt it. I mean, I very much doubt it. I know guys who are a lot older than me, and they have the same thing, the same dichotomy is present, and women as well, you know, women as well. There's an uptick now in divorce, actually, in couples in their 60s. I mean, can you imagine couples in their 60s getting divorced because they're looking for something else, they're looking for another thrill. And tightly monogamous relationships can feel very constraining for both parties at different times. And while they can be extremely comforting and wonderful as well, they can feel extremely constricting. So what's the point of all of this? Well, there is no point really, because ultimately you have to make your own decisions for what you want to do. As I always say, I'm not saying don't get married, I'm not saying don't have, get into a domestic relationship with somebody if that's what you want to do. But what I am saying is that you've got to be aware of the downsides. And the other thing is, if you're a guy watching this and you're kind of thinking, well, I'm nearly 30 now, or I'm nearly 40 now, or whatever, some milestone of like, oh, maybe I better, it's time to throw in the towel, it's time to settle down. Well, not necessarily, because as I've said before, you really don't need to in this day and age. There are plenty of guys and women, but obviously this is mainly aimed at guys. There are plenty of guys who are roaming around in their 40s, in their 50s, even going into their 60s, whatever, who just haven't settled down, or maybe they have, and they came out the other side. Maybe they got divorced, and they're back out on the rampage again. Okay, and they are, by and large, doing pretty well. I mean, it's the myth of the lonely old man, the myth that you're just going to be sort of distraught and crying into your beer. Crying into your beer every night alone is a myth, because there's no need for that anymore, right? There's no requirement for that anymore, because quite frankly, technology and the ability to travel and online connectivity, the ability to make different friends and things like this has meant that the world is a very different place now. The notion of being this sort of isolated, desolate, miserable, alcoholic bachelor who's sitting at the end of the bar crying into his beer is a fantasy, and it's certainly not a life that you need to have. I'm not saying that people don't live that life, of course they do, but it's not really a life that you need to live anymore, given the large number of other people who are out and about enjoying freedom, and also the connectivity that we have and the ability to sort of make new friends and connect with new people who share our worldview, who share our way of being. So be aware of what the downsides are. Be aware of your own nature, and be aware of her nature as well. Be aware of this dichotomy, this pull of these two opposing impulses, and understand that the monogamous relationship, that the happy ending is not always a happy ending, right? It's not always the ending. It may be a nice safety haven for a period of time, but it's not always necessarily the ending, because you've got to think about and be honest about human nature and about your own nature as much as anything else. It's an uncomfortable reality, but it's something that I've seen play out time and time again in my life with people that I know and people that I've been friends with and, you know, had in my family and stuff like that. And yeah, no easy answers really, but just be aware of these dynamics. That dichotomous desire, that dichotomous dual desire, okay? Be aware of it in yourself, be aware of it in other people, be aware of it in that girl that you're dating or that woman that you're thinking of marrying, okay? And, you know, just have a think about what could happen and have a think about the different options that you have and make a decision that's right for you, ultimately. That's the only thing I can say. Can't say anything else. No easy answers. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this little walking tour of the lovely city of Istanbul. And yeah, hit subscribe, drop me a comment beneath, hit like, please. Do all that good stuff for the algorithm. And yeah, if you want to book a call to discuss your, you know, your dating life, your decisions in this area, and maybe how to increase your options in the dating world, then you can absolutely do that for free. There's a link below this video, click that and make a time with me and we can have a chat. And yeah, I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.